All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and welcome to the 2018 Genesis G90. Yes, I have finally got my hands on this vehicle. I've been looking for this thing everywhere, and guess who the wonderful people are who lent us this vehicle today? It is none other than Capital Mazda of Cary. Yes, you heard me right. Capital Mazda of Cary has acquired this vehicle as a used car to sell. It's got like 8,000 miles on it. Yeah, no, I lucked out. They actually have a bunch of other like Hyundais, like 2019s and 2020 Hyundais that they recently acquired, so I'm definitely going to check those out as well. Yeah, huge shout out to Will Rodden. If you are interested in this vehicle, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, I'm going to leave all the information down in the description box below, so I really appreciate them helping us out with these reviews. Now, as for the Genesis G90, this very well might be the best car I've probably driven. I don't know. The hatred that this car gets, that this brand gets as a whole, is beyond me. If you have never, forget driving it, I mean, if you've never even sat in one of these things before, I'm sorry to say, but you have no right to even speak on this vehicle, because I was at an auto show. I sat in this car. That's all I did. I just sat in it. And there was a Rolls-Royce Ghost there. And I honestly, I swear to you, I was more impressed with the interior of this G90 than I was with that Ghost. I kid you not. But here we are actually doing a review, actually driving this thing. Now, you know how I feel about my beloved little G80, right? Well, this is now my chance to check out the G80's big brother, the top dog. And, you know, it's funny because I literally just drove the Hyundai Gens, like the old one, like from 2011. So it's very interesting to now be able to sit in like the brand, like the brand new flagship, essentially. Now it pretty much completes it. I've literally driven all of these vehicles, all these like little big bodies, all these like little Genesis cars. I've driven them all now, so this pretty much completes it. Now that we're sitting in a bit of traffic, let me just try and explain to you, some of you Lexus whores and some of you other brand whores, like what makes this car so damn special. Touching up against everything, this is hands down the most solid vehicle ever that I have been in. This is so damn solid. There is not a damn creak or rattle or nothing in this thing. Yeah, it's only got 8,000 miles on it, but still, I'm sorry to say this, but Lexus has nothing on the build quality of this vehicle. I kid you not. I'll get this one complaint out of the way. The only like kind of cheap thing that I found with this car is actually these paddle shifters, which I am just not even going to use. So there's that. This particular model is a 2018. It's got the 3.3 liter V6 twin turbo, which you know, I obviously prefer the V8, but I've obviously experienced this engine multiple times, like in the Stinger. This is like the identical engine basically, but it was first debuted here in the 2017 G90. That's kind of where this vehicle stemmed from. But that 5-liter V8 is an option, and it's actually still being made even today in the 2020 G90, which I really appreciate. This is one of the only old school big body luxury cars still being created today. You still get that naturally aspirated engine, but this 3.3 liter V6, it does realistically pull like a V8, let's be honest. Oh yeah, a little forward braking collision warning thing. Of course, it's got every little safety option like that. Let me just say this, for the LS 460 people, I've driven that vehicle, like the newer one, like the 2013 one with the air suspension. This thing pretty much rides 99% like that car, but without air suspension. This is like one of the few big body cars in its class that doesn't even have air suspension, and it just rides so damn good. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's like, actually it rides like that BMW 750i that I was in. That's actually kind of what this rides like. And there is no like wheelbase options. There's only one base. There's only that big body long wheelbase option. It's like 204 inches long. So right up there with the S classes and all those cars. And basically what that long wheelbase is going to do is it's going to provide a level of stability, especially at high speeds, and comfort that smaller wheelbase vehicles just simply cannot offer. The brakes are really good, really progressive. It's not the strongest brakes in the world, but they do an excellent job stopping this very large vehicle, which is like 4,600 pounds. But really though, 4,600 pounds is nothing for a car like this. And mind you, this is the rear wheel drive one, so yeah, it's the fun one. This is like the lightest weight G90 that you can get. So it actually only weighs like, I think only like 100 pounds, or pretty much identical to like a fully loaded V8 G80 actually. So that's really impressive. And when you drive it, there's definitely a level of athleticism that this big body has that some of the other vehicles just don't have, actually. It's got this 8-speed transmission, that in-house built 8-speed transmission, and you know what? I honestly like the way that this shifts and reacts even better than the Stinger, actually. To be honest, I wasn't like the biggest fan of this motor and trans combination in the Stinger. I thought that it hesitated a little bit more than it should have, but this vehicle actually does. It's pretty snappy, actually gets up and goes really well. Definitely like V8 levels of power, absolutely. Just lacks the sound of a V8. I was kind of driving around in sport mode there. Let me just put that back into kind of the smart mode. That's actually a really nice mode actually for these Hyundai Kia vehicles. Individual mode is actually new for this vehicle, so you can actually customize your settings with this car, so that's really nice. Well, first of all, let me just compare this to the G80. So do I still prefer this to a G80? This is a far superior vehicle to a G80. There is actually really no comparing that. It's kind of like comparing an LS to an IS. You know, you can't really do that because they kind of have different purposes. This is supposed to be a huge kind of just big body vehicle, and man, you know, despite that, the handling of this is so planted. I really appreciate that. Traction control really does kick in. Brakes, you definitely do have to get in on them, but really well done. The chassis on these cars is absolutely excellent. I know that on the G80 that it had like a Lotus-inspired suspension setup, and because of just the double pane glass, I think the G80 had double pane glass too, but just the level of isolation that this vehicle provides and just the lack of road noise, tire noise, in those ways it is superior to a G80, but the G80 is still a better driving car. But you got to understand that, you know, pure driving dynamics is not the purpose of this vehicle, but this handles almost like that 750 actually. It's got like a BMW vibe to it, but I like the steering. It's a little bit more natural, a little bit lighter, and that kind of makes this vehicle kind of seemingly easier to drive. You know, that I've been in a lot of these larger vehicles that they're never really that intimidating to pilot, at least for me anyway. This is definitely a gargantuan vehicle, but I find this to be a very easy cruising vehicle. You know, I really don't mind. You can do like hundreds of miles in this thing every single day. And it's just a shame that this car is never going to get the appreciation that it properly deserves with the way the fit and finish of this interior, just the way that this thing drives, the excellent engine options that it has. Granted, this V6, I guess the purpose of it was to get better fuel economy than a V8. That's not happening. If you drive it kind of like I am here, there's no way you're going to get any type of respectable fuel economy. But dude, you are just flying in here. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but there's an excellent sensation of speed when you peg it, and I appreciate that. I just have a lot of confidence piloting this car, and that's really all that matters to me. I said this in the Genesis I just drove yesterday, as well as in the Equus. Like literally the only con I could find with those cars is like the slightly higher than average, you know, tire noise, which this vehicle does not have. It's pretty much been perfected. And, you know, now there's a new G90 that's come out, and I can't believe it. I don't know what they improved, but apparently they found something to improve. So I'm really impressed with these cars, and driving this, it's kind of making me want to buy one. I think this thing's like stickered at like $46,000 there with only 8,000 miles. Dude, that's nothing for a car like this. Heavily undervalued automobile, dude. People just do not understand the value of these things, and they find what I say blasphemy when I say that this car handles a lot better and drives better than some of those, like, you know, Japanese, German cars. It's just the goddamn truth. I mean, I don't know what you want out of me. Kind of moving on to this interior space, like I mentioned, dude, there's nothing that comes even close to the solidity of this cabin. And what I like most is that even though this is like one of those full-size luxury vehicles with all the options and stuff, this particular one doesn't have like every single solitary option, but it's definitely loaded up. I think you got to get like the V8 with the ultimate trim to get every single solitary little option, but this premium model still is a wonderful place to be, let me tell you. Even with all these options, you know, Hyundai Kia does an amazing job with the infotainment, where it is just so stupid simple to use. You never feel intimidated using all the options in here. Dude, the Lexicon sound system with the 17 speakers, oh my God, does it sound amazing. It's absolutely superb sound system for sure, worth every single penny. I think it's definitely over 1,000 watts or close to it anyway. It's got the heads-up display, of course, works seamlessly. Has physical gauges, but with the helper screen in the middle, super easy to use. Nice little clock, of course. A little digi shifter, but I appreciate using it. It is pretty easy to use, similar to the Stinger. Plenty of little views and stuff for backup camera, so it's impossible to crash, along with all the little safety features, right? Gobs of space in the back seat. Like I mentioned, there is no smaller wheelbase in this. This is what you get. It's the biggest one. And dude, you can really stretch out back there. I will say there's not a bunch of toe room back there, but it doesn't really matter because the leg room is just so gargantuan. Yeah, you can absolutely be an avatar back there and have no issues fitting. Trunk space, you know, sizable enough for bodies, of course. You don't get like a full panoramic sunroof. You do get this little sunroof though, which I appreciate. This headlining material is excellent, very soft. You know, like I mentioned, the peasant blockers, you got that. You got all these like, you know, one-touch automatic window controls. Nice and easy steering wheel like that. All the knurled buttons, dude. You cannot appreciate the attention to detail that's in this vehicle until you're inside of it. You know, you don't even have to drive it. When you just get in here and you feel the heft to all the materials, just the door, the way it sounds when you open and close it. When you just take a look at that, you know, that book, that like the manuals, it's like in this little box. It's like crazy. It weighs like 50 pounds. The books alone, it's insane. And when you look behind this seat, like the two like seats up in the front, when you look behind it, it's got like this wood right behind the seats here. Like I don't know who put that there, but you know, that's excellent. That's just a level of quality that you just can't appreciate until you get inside of it. It is genuinely some of the best automobiles that you can possibly buy today. But it doesn't really matter, you know, how much I say it or, you know, how many reviews I make on these vehicles. Nobody's going to appreciate it, but if you do, oh man, you can get a stupid deal on one of these cars. You know, you can get like a warranty with this thing for not that much money, and you can really enjoy absolute tranquility that you would otherwise have to pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars for with any other manufacturer. And it's a car that doesn't even have air suspension, and it's so damn nice to pilot. So kind of wrapping up my thoughts, because I just chose the wrong vehicle to make a mistake in directions, because I am just in a world full of donkeys apparently when it comes to driving in one of the most congested areas. This place that I'm in right now makes Washington, D.C. look like an open airfield. It has been an absolute true treat and treasure to find this vehicle and finally get to review it for you guys. I know many of you have asked for this car to do a review upon, and I finally got it, and it is every bit as good as I knew it was going to be. I still prefer the G80 because I just like driving a little bit better. This is more like BMW inspired, kind of like a 750, but like, you know, it's just like a higher quality vehicle, like fit and finish and all that. You know, there is no such thing as a bad car in this segment. They're all amazing, you know, but it's just astounding at how nice of a car that you can get for this price range, especially as a used car proposition. Dude, this is an absolute no-brainer. If you just care about having a really nice car, you can get over the brand cachet and all that stuff. I get it. You know, some of the reasons why you would even buy a car like this is for the prestige, the swagger. I understand that. I understand people more than people understand themselves. You can't take away from this vehicle just the pure quality that it exudes, from the interior to the drive to everything. So, like I mentioned, no such thing as a bad car in this size and segment of cars, but definitely it does not deserve the flack and just the disrespect that this thing gets on the internet. It definitely does not deserve that. So I highly encourage you to check out this vehicle, you know, somewhere close by, or if you are interested in purchasing this vehicle, they are more than willing to sell it to you with a warranty. So definitely check out Capital Mazda's website. But that about does it for this review. I think you guys get the point now. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.